Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Twizzle for our third video in this short series. In this video, we'll be going over Common App prompt number 3. Reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? Whereas number 2 asked you about a specific challenge or setback, number 3 is allowing you to talk about something that isn't necessarily an event. Humanities and business majors tend to like this and number 5 because of this open-ended, abstract aspect. It lets you talk about things like priorities, hopes, or inspirations, even without some major event attached to it. First, we'll start off where to find a few sample essays. We've talked about finding college essay books online, and that's a great place to start, but something that's not looked at as often is other sources of writing that produces similar styles of essays. Reading essays about personal struggles is a great place to get some examples of excellent sentences. Make sure that you're not doing this off topic. The idea with this essay is that you show how this new realization or perspective improved your clarity regarding your field of interest. At its most simplistic, we're looking at this type of structure. At first, I thought incorrect belief because explanation. Questioning made me realize that new perspective or insight. And now I know field of interest is right for me because explanation. Obviously, a full essay is going to have considerably higher amounts of substance and personality woven into it, but the flow will be similar. The next step, brainstorming, will fill this out. We haven't looked at outlines for humanities and business students yet, and this is a really good topic to frame that kind of introspection. So let's take a look at an example of a student who isn't sure if they should emphasize their community activities or their business experience. Here's how they might brainstorm an essay for this topic geared towards humanities. Let's say this was about the student's community outreach activity. It wasn't related to her business activity, it was just an all-volunteer thing at school. In the first paragraph, the student is talking about how they believe that practicing was the only thing required for success. She goes on to explain that she has won awards through effort, but in the second paragraph, she explains about a time when she didn't even get an award, her community outreach. In the end of the essay, she talks about the growth of the club and how it eventually achieved recognition, but she has framed the entire essay in the context of the prompt. Also notice how this isn't some essay bitterly complaining about a childish conflict. However, let's say she also had a business activity that wasn't as expansive, but also has a good flow to it. It could look like this. Here we see the prompt and the student are the same, but now she is only discussing her experiences related to this prompt in terms of her business activities. We can see that at first, she thought that money was all that mattered. In the second paragraph, we have an interesting sentence position with the new realization at the end, that learning the business was the goal and not the attainment of money. This is potentially disastrous because you don't want to be a business major saying money doesn't matter. However, the writer goes on to the third paragraph stating that the building of relationships is the most important part of a business. She discusses the achieved goals, feedback, and appreciation letters. Success is implied. This is an excellent way of saying they were successful without throwing out a bunch of emotionless numbers and statistics, or even worse, coming off as arrogant. With this kind of brainstorming, you could think about it for a couple of days, move around some of the pieces, add new stories, but you'd be writing the shape of the essay in your head. Getting on to the last part of the video, you might wonder how you're supposed to write about this experience. Let's go over a pretty big writing tip for all Common App topics. Avoid using vocabulary that is childish. It was really dumb of me too. This word can be replaced with rash, impulsive, careless, and have the same meaning without the inappropriate connotation of using the word dumb. A bad sentence in this type of essay would be something like, I was such an impatient kid back then that reading manuals seemed like such a stupid waste of time. I worry on sentences like this because you can immediately sound very arrogant by saying things like this or following up with something like, so now I'm really meticulous or conscientious or perfect, or the redundant, now I'm not impatient. And this is aside from the fact that we're using stupid in our college essay in a very basic way. Here's a different way to write this. Reading manuals seem like doing homework for an extra class without a teacher. I wished I could make time go faster during these times of difficulty. Now, I'm grateful if I have the time to be able to sit down and do it correctly the first time because I know it's ultimately faster. The reason that this works better is that there's no sense of whining here. The complaint is fully qualified. It felt like work. They make it clear they were not enjoying the effort. Also, there's a subtle tone of confidently reading things correctly now without bragging about it overtly. Write out variations of your sentences to make them fit together into your overall essay as smoothly as possible. And we'll be going over transitions and content ordering in later videos, so remember to watch those bits if you're having trouble on organization. We'll stop here for today. If you've been following along with us, you can see that this essay isn't something that happens in 2 weeks unless you already have this all planned out. If you are a legacy student, then a weaker essay can be overlooked, but for merit students, due to the highly competitive nature of the top packages for admission, remember that it's best to get this done early. You'll run into some unexpected problems, but you won't feel so rushed as long as you have been keeping up with a plan and have been giving yourself the time to build the perfect essay. If you have a question writing your essay, remember you can post it on our community boards or even get a real feedback on your essay from us if you're done. In the next video, we'll be doing topic number 4. Thanks again for watching.